Okay guys, today's video we're going to be covering the Silky Gomboy folding saw. Here it is, Gomboy, made in Japan. Now this is the 240 version, I believe, which is, I'm guessing, due to like the size of it. They have smaller ones, the pocket size, and they have larger ones. This is the large teeth model. I believe they have a medium teeth and a large teeth. I don't know if they have a small teeth version, but this is the large teeth version. As you see here, I highly recommend getting the large teeth version. It just allows you to cut through wood easier and doesn't take as much effort or calories or anything up. It's got a nice rubberized handle here. Show that off. And it's also curved here, which is really nice for your hand, and it's got like a little lip right here, because when you're sawing, I basically put my hand there, put my thumb there. It makes it a lot easier for sawing. As you can tell, the blade itself is a bit curved, obviously, which makes it a lot easier for cutting through and getting through things, getting through wood. Yeah, this one's about, I paid about 35 bucks on Amazon for this. I think the large teeth model is a little bit more expensive than the medium teeth. The medium teeth might be under 30, about, I think I saw it for like $28. But like I said, I recommend getting the large teeth. Just a couple bucks more, and then it does a lot better with the wood. There's another version, the Laplander. Now a lot of people try to compare this to, or compare the Laplander to this Gomboy, this specific one, the 240, to the normal Laplander. Laplander is about 20-25 bucks. You can probably find that around there, and this one's about 30-35 bucks. So for $5 or $10 difference in between those two. I don't have a Laplander. I don't think I've ever tried a Laplander. I went with the Gomboy. A little bit more expensive, but honestly, either one you want to get is fine. It's kind of up to your budget and up to your likings. Maybe you like the look of this one, or you like the look of the Laplander more. I know the Laplander has a black blade on theirs, but theirs also has I'm pretty sure, a texturized grip like this, and they're about the same size. So really, it's up to you. I've used this Gomboy for about, I would say, coming up on like 4 years. I've had this, and took it on backpacking trips, camping trips, hikes, whatever, and it's done fine for me. I've never really had a problem with it. One thing I will say is, over time, over using it and experience with it, you'll get better at using it. What I mean by that is, when you first start using it, you're probably gonna twist it a bit, and your wrists are gonna move a little bit more, which is going to kind of bend the blade, and sometimes this can get pricked, the tip of it, and get kind of bent. You don't want to do that. That's definitely a way where your blade can break. Also, when you look up, you can replace the blades themselves, which is nice, but when you look it up, from what I found, when I did look it up, that blades were actually more expensive than just replacing the whole saw itself. I think the blades were like $35, $36, and I think I saw the saw itself for like $30 to $32. So if you're looking at replace the saw, let's say you get one, you need to replace it, years down the line, or maybe you just break it on accident by using it. Just replace the whole thing. It's cheaper than just replacing the blades itself, or it might be different at that point in time, but I would say look into it. But usually it's better just replace the whole thing. You never know, maybe something happened in here and there's some, metal stuck in there in the mechanism and stuff and all this, so usually it's just easier to replace the whole thing. I'm gonna cut through some wood just to show you this limb. Nothing too crazy, not too thick, but super quick, under a minute, under 30 seconds probably, I was able to get through that. It's nothing crazy, but it's nice because it gives you that flat surface to work with. So if I would have cut down, let's say right here, and had this on both sides, put it there, and you can baton down the wood for your fire and process wood really easily. Let's cut through something thicker. Let's cut through this big boy just to show you that it can do it. I don't recommend doing this all the time. You can cut through wood this thick. It's definitely probably going to cut down on your life expectancy of your saw because it's so thick, and the teeth are probably going to wear down faster. But just to show you that you can do it, we'll cut this thing in half. I just want to make sure your hands are away from the saw. Don't want to have anything near the saw with like your hands while you're cutting. You do want to stabilize the wood that you're cutting on, just to make sure nothing slips or anything like that. But yeah, this saw can cut through something this thick. I'm about halfway through. Arms are getting a little tired. That's another thing when you go through thicker wood. It's a lot more effort to try to cut that wood or saw that wood down. Always keep your blade and your handle as straight as you can at the angle you went in. Otherwise you're going to be bending your saw in there, and you're going to get the wood to pinch it in, and it's going to be a whole mess. So just try to keep it as straight as you can. Almost there. All right, there it is. I'll show you how thick this piece of wood is. I believe this is the side I cut through. But you got a real flat surface, as you can tell. Really flat surface there. So I can process wood really easily. Just real thick pieces. If you need to, it can do it. And then maybe if that's all you do, you know, it's pretty budget-friendly folding saw. So, you know, doing that for a couple of years, you know, you might have a little bit less life out of the item, but you know, it's 30 bucks, you know, maybe you get 3 years out of it. That's pretty good if you're cutting thicker wood like that. Or Gomboy does have larger sizes than this, bigger handles, bigger saws, blades, so you could go for something thicker if you're thinking about processing really big pieces of wood and wanting to do it that way. This is definitely something I always recommend for like if you're backpacking. It's super light. Obviously it's a folding saw. Folds up really nicely, just like that. You know, put this in your pocket, put it in your pack, you know, put a lanyard on it, hang it off your pack, hang it off your belt, whatever, and bring it with you really easily. But it's such a, you know, budget-friendly item, and a just kind of, I guess, overlooked item, I would say, when it comes to backpacking and camping and things. And it's just this small little thing that can be so useful. Even if, let's say, you know, you got lost or anything like that, you just had this on you, it's very helpful for processing wood, honestly. And I'm sure, you know, the spine isn't, you know, the spine is 90 degrees. It's not anything too crazy or hard, but maybe you could throw some sparks off it or use it for other items as well if you need it in a survival situation. Also for survival packs, maybe you're looking for something to add also your survival packs. A folding saw is a really good idea. Like I said, it's small, it's light, it processes wood really well. And so even like, let's say you're not a big camper or backpacker or anything like that, but you are into prepping or in survival gear and survival packs, this is definitely something to add to your pack. I mean, I use it all the time when I'm out camping or anything like that. It's such a useful item, really useful item, and very inexpensive. You know, maybe you double up on these, put one in a survival pack, and then use one for camping and all that stuff. Not too many big difference. Like I said, you know, there's always big comparisons between the Gomboy and Laplander. Do your research, own research on those two and compare. Maybe it's a budget thing, maybe it's just a, you just want to know which one you can use that you would like best when you're using it. Another thing is, like I said, over time you'll get better at using this saw and processing wood. When you first get it, I'd say go through thinner pieces of wood, about that thickness, and just practice with it a bit when you're first using it. Don't try to go crazy and go through thick pieces like this, because like I said, when you first start, you have a tendency to start somewhere, and while you're sawing, your wrist turns a little bit, but you already have a groove in the wood, so your blade's gonna bend with your, and while you're going like that, it's gonna bend, and then it's gonna pinch, the wood could pinch together. You could break the blade. I've seen that a lot when I go camping with my buddies, and they're like, oh, I want to try, let me try that out, I'm like, all right, and they try it out, and it's probably their first time using a folding saw like this, and there are big tendencies for it to bend when they're using it, because they haven't used it much. But I never had this blade break. Like I said, I've had it 4 years, probably coming up on 4 years, so nothing crazy about that. Show you a little up close again. Let's cut through some more wood. Let's see. This one's pretty thick wood, but it's not as thick as these logs that I was cutting down. So let's see how long it takes me to cut through this. Like I said, usually I'll put a piece of wood down as well before you start sawing. Maybe place a piece of wood down on so you can place the wood that you're going to be sawing on top of, just to give you a better stable working spot. And you don't want the saw moving around crazy. You don't want the wood to be moving around. That's a pretty thick spot. Let's try to cut through this, see how long this takes us. Okay, there we go. Show you the thickness on this one. It's not as thick as those bigger logs I just did, but still, and this is some dense wood right here, and still didn't take me that long. I'm maybe a little bit more tired than the other ones, but still nothing crazy. Let's try to do a size comparison with it next to some wood. Here's a pretty thick piece right here. Let's kind of show you. Let's see if I can get this. So, not too crazy thickness wise. Let's do it. Oh, let's do it folded up. Kind of show you the sizing. Super small, but again, just a super useful tool. I feel like gets overlooked a lot. When I got really into bushcraft and bushcraft videos, I didn't even, kind of pay attention to folding saws or anything like that. I was more into bushcraft knives, and I have a small forest axe from Granford's Brooks. That's like $140, and honestly, I use this thing the most. 30 bucks, super useful tool. If you have any other questions about the Gomboy or anything like that, leave them in the comments, and check out some of my other outdoor product videos. And thanks for watching. See you next time.